Kia ora, good. Is it morning or afternoon? I can't even, afternoon. Can't even tell. Good afternoon. So I'm sitting here trying to kill time, as you know, sitting in my little bubble, sitting in my, in my bubble, killing time until the door opens to the passageway to my new beginning in Switzerland. And as you know, I've been talking repeatedly about how I've got to get my visa sorted, and I need all my ducks in a row. My rising sign is Libra, so the twin to Libra is Aries, and that Aries is the side of me that is very structured and militant and orderly. And my father was an Aries, and he was a drill sergeant, so I'm very organised and I have to have all my ducks in a row. It's not about control, it's about I was raised, do it now so you don't have to do it later. So I'm getting all that out of the way because the first thing I have to do once I find a home for my boys and I spent all last night looking at rental places. There's some houses I don't know what I'm going to do. Like we might have to live in an apartment for a bit. Apparently Switzerland has exceptional public transport, which is good. So I'm probably going to have to live in and around the Geneva area. So I was looking at places. I was looking at places to rent everywhere from Geneva all the way up. So because I can't guarantee that this property that I want to have a look at is going to be it, but I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, so I was looking at places to rent, and we may have to live in an apartment for a little bit, which I'm not happy about because my boys are very heavy-footed. They're very loud. I I don't want them to have any restrictions when it comes to playing their video games and that, and I'd always be worried about noise with the neighbours and that. So I mean they had houses obviously, but the trouble with a lot of the houses is that they were a little bit far away and I can't drive. So but Gabriel does want to get his license, so I may end up having to pay for him to get his driver's license and then buying him a car and then paying him to run me around when I have to go into town and that. But yeah, I was looking at properties, and as soon as it has to be big enough where I can bring in my writing team and my music team, because we've got a lot to do. I need to be able to sit down and have Zoom calls with my programmers and my artists and all of that. Pretty much as soon as I get there, my feet won't hit the ground because I've got to find a place. I've got to look at properties. Once I've found my property and I'm happy with what I found, then we'll hit the road and start making the shows and filling in time and giving us time, about a year I'm hoping, to start getting the ball rolling and everything. But I've got a lot of balls to start rolling. And I don't want to get there and not have stuff to hand them. Do you see what I mean? When I get a place with the internet and all of that, I can rewrite my stories, re-edit them, get the scripts written out, work with the script writers and Thomas and that, and my writers, and put the meat on the bones to everything. Decide what it is we're going to do first. Obviously, Night of the Black Sun is one of them, but what video game are we going to make first, and all that sort of thing. TV shows, and so I need to have everything ready. And depending on what we're going to make first is, I have to have enough meat on the bones to give them something to work on. So I'm a very much do it now so you don't have to do it later kind of person. Procrastination just doesn't sit with me. I might put off having to wash the dishes or something because usually I wash the dishes straight after eating. I don't like having dishes in the sink. That comes from growing up with an army dad. So I might put off doing the dishes for an hour, but they will be done, sort of thing. Like, I hate having dishes in the sink, but yeah, I'm going to do it now so you don't have to do it later kind of person. I think there's nothing worse than being relaxed and chill and then having to realize, oh my God, I've got to do the washing and do the dishes, and but if you just get it out the way, then you've got all day to relax. So I'm getting everything out the way so that when I get there, I can focus on the big things. So I'm working on Holy War the movie. Obviously, she's landed. I haven't got a name for her character yet, but her brothers, Michael Raphael, Sir Raphael, Jesus, all of them, are watching her from the sidelines because they don't think that she's man enough to earn her wings. So God sends her on assignment to, watch over this holy war and fight this holy war on earth. So she lands, and her character is kind of Linda Hamilton from the Terminator mixed with a bit of Lara Croft. She's like that. She's very sort of Van Helsing. She's very by the book. She's very regimented. She's very military. She's in God's army. She's one of God's generals, but she's also God's daughter. The relationship that he has, you have to bear in mind that Holy War, the movie, is a comedy. It's kind of like if you mix Blade and John Wick with Mystery Men and Dogma. So, there's comedy. It's kind of, dry comedy, sort of, dry humour, sort of, well, you know what I mean if you've seen those movies, but she's a bit of an asshole. But she has this sarcastic relationship with God. And I've written this whole scene in where, God's come to check on her to see how she's doing. And, they're walking in the desert after she's just done like a big thing in the desert. And God is nothing. He's just going to be like this see-through vibrating bubble that she can see. Basically, he's going to look like a giant vibrating atom that's like a bubble, like a rainbow kind of bubble, that she can see that nobody else can. Because you have to be ascended to, stand and know the voice of God. But I've decided that whoever does the voice of God, I want him to be like James Earl Jones, very commanding sort of, a commanding voice, because his voice is going to be everything that represents him as God. And it's a shame about James Earl Jones. If I can find someone who's got a voice like James Earl Jones, who isn't famous, I'll be over the moon. But I know exactly how I want to have his voice, because I've written this whole scene in the movie where she's been mouthy to God. And he's like, I'm God, right? And she's like, yes, but you're also my father. I can't believe you just said that to God. Like, they have this relationship. Yeah, she's a bit sassy. She's sassy, whereas her brothers are very, like, worshipping of him. She worships her father. She worships him. She just wants to make him so proud. But because she's the youngest and she's the only girl, she's sassy. She's the rebellious one, because the youngest in the family is always the rebel. I'm the baby of 7. The magic number 7. Hang on. And the 7th child is also the one that they say is born with the gifts. The 7th is supposed to be the most powerful in the bloodline, but the 7th is also the most rebellious. And that's definitely me, but that's definitely her. I don't have a name for her yet. I'm trying to find the perfect name. In my head for now, I just call her Julie, but it's not going to be Julie. I called Sam's character Julia. I don't know why, what the thing is with Julia, but I haven't got a name for her yet. But yeah, the voice of God, he's going to have a very deep, sort of commanding, James Earl Jonesy sort of voice. And they have this, this funny, like comedic, cute little relationship where she's a bit rebellious, but at the same time, she gets away with it because, but I'm your, oh, shush, I'm your special princess, that sort of thing. You know, I'm your special princess. I get away with it because I'm your special princess, that sort of thing. I'll know the voice of God as soon as I hear the audition. Because obviously, when we head out on the road to look for talent, I'll be looking for voice actors in that as well, not just children. So I'll know his voice. I as soon as I hear his voice, I will stop all the auditions. I will sign that person immediately. So yeah, Holy War the movie, that one's going to be fun to make. Whoever plays her brothers, they're going to have to be big actors. I said Thomas should play Archangel Michael because he's got the hair of Archangel Michael. He's got the hair of Michael, and like he's like 6'7" or something, and he's built like a brick shit house. So and he does HEMA classes and that. So he does like medieval historical sword fights and everything like that. He can do like all the falls and drops. So he could work with martial artists and stunt people and that because he wanted to do his own stunts and do his own sword fighting and that. He wanted. I mean, with Vantablack, he said, "Can you find something in it where I get to use my sword?" Which he does at the end. He's what kills the Bill Gates inspired character. But I thought in Holy War the movie, this would really give him the opportunity to use his sword. He'd be one of the main stars in it because he'd be playing Archangel Michael. So he'd have to like work out at the gym, get himself all like body ready and you know do his stunts with his swords, and he'll have to work with people, and but all of them who play like Sir Raphael and all of that, they'll all have to do their thing. Sir Raphael is going to be would have to be taller than Michael. Well, yeah, Michael, Archangel Michael. You know, like how they had to get all the big actors for Lord of the Rings, all the big tall ones. So, yeah, one of my friends was one of the orcs. Shane, because we lived down the road where it was all mostly made in Wellington, so it inspired me. Yeah, so whoever does the voice of God is going to have a commanding presence, and I just wrote this character into it where he's a mortal and he's investigating the same things that she's investigating. I think I'm going to have him as like a reporter. You remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how April was a reporter, a TV reporter? I think I'm going to have him as like a TV reporter. And he's investigating things that are happening. And he starts realising that she's always where the trouble is. And, you know, when basically he's investigating her and when he figures out who she is, she has to try and shut him up, and he's like, well, let me follow you and I won't tell anyone who you are. Like, you let me in on the scoop, you let me be there, I want to be there with you. Like, he basically blackmails her. But it's because he's in awe of her. I mean, obviously he's going to end up being her love interest, but the brothers are not happy when they finally reveal themselves and he sees that, they've been following her, because she pretends like she doesn't know they're following her. She pretends she can't see them hiding behind the tree, even though, like, the tree's 3 foot and he's nearly 7 foot, sort of thing. She pretends like she doesn't know. And it's not that they don't trust her, but she's the little sister, and they don't think that she's man enough to earn her wings on her own. So they're making sure they're like they're her invisible training wheels, and she pretends like she doesn't know that they're following her and hiding behind things, until she's like, I know you're standing there, Michael. I can see you hiding behind that dog. And it's like a little poodle. And he's just like holding it in front of him. And he's this big giant archangel with these massive wings and that. But to everybody else, they just see this dog that looks like it's floating. And so people are putting on TikTok and YouTube and all that, there's a floating dog. And then Grack comes up and says, no, it's AI. The lady's like, I swear to God, the dog was floating. I turned around to answer a phone. I was walking my dog, and then I turned around and my dog was floating. But it's because, like, angels don't make themselves known. They have to hide who they are when they're down here. So yeah, so all these weird things start happening that he starts investigating, and every, like, thing that he investigates that turns up on TikTok and Snapchat and all that sort of FaceAche and that, she seems to always be connected. So he starts following her around to see what she's up to, and then when he realizes who she is, he's like, holy crap. So then he's like, if you don't let me follow you and be a part of your adventure, I'm going to tell everybody who you are. So they get off, like, they have a frictious relationship, because he's always asking her questions that she finds annoying. But then he's annoyed at the fact that when he gets to a certain point with her, she shuts up and pulls back. And he doesn't like that, because it's like he starts wanting to protect her, because then when he realizes what her journey is, when he realizes what's going on and he knows the truth, he knows he has to protect her, just like the brothers in that, because he knows the importance of what happens if she fails her mission. And because you have to understand, these, like, she's going to be working with we're bringing out a lot of gods for this, like Ganesh and Shiva, and a lot of Chinese ones, a lot of Viking gods. You'll see Zeus and Thor, and, like, even Loki, and all, like, they're all going to be, hang on, what's going to happen with Marvel and all that, though? They might not let me put them in there. I mean, they wouldn't be the superhero versions, they'd be the actual mythical versions. They wouldn't be superhero. Like, they're not. Oh, I mean, they're not the only gods in mythology and folklore, but it's just because the gods I work with, I was going to put them in there because I know them. But I'll have, like, Celtic gods and Pictish gods, and you know what I mean? So all sorts. Polynesian gods, they'll all be coming out. They'll all be helping her in their own way. But this is telling her story, not all the gods' stories. Obviously, you see all the gods at the end. But yeah, when God comes down to check on her, because she has a fight with the man, and they don't talk for a bit, and she's sad, and she's not putting effort into chopping off heads and that anymore, because she's sad. So her dad comes down, her father comes down, God, and they're taking a walk into the desert and having this conversation, but it looks like she's talking to herself, and there's this whole thing where she's been a bit cheeky and a bit of an arsehole and all that, but it's kind of sweet, and he's giving her his beautiful godly advice, and and then she's back to full swinging, chopping heads off again, because she knows that she can't let her heart interfere with the mission. So because she thinks he leaked a story, but he didn't. Or that's the storyline I'm going down now. She thinks he leaked a story, but he didn't. It was somebody at the news agency. I really wanted to see if I could get real politicians and, presidents and prime ministers and that to have cameos, but I'll just get actors to do it. So, or the other thing was, the other thing I'd written in is that they had an argument because he thought she had got him fired from his job. That was the other option. He thought she got him fired because of things, but it wasn't. It was somebody at the network. Either way, whichever storyline I go down, it was because of somebody at the network he worked with who worked for the bad guys. And then, of course, when he realises he's been working for the bad guys, he quits. He packs up and he joins the Legion, the Mutant Legion. Well, he joins the Legion. So yeah, he's protective of her. I mean, obviously they end up falling in love. Obviously they end up together, but it's an unusual relationship because it's very intense and deep and passionate, but at the same time they're too much alike. But it's like, how do I put it? They're honest with each other in a raw, brutal way, but that's what they love about each other, is that they don't have to hide it. They can just be themselves. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe, yeah, he thinks she got him into trouble or stopped a story from getting out because when he was writing it and he's like, I have to put this on here, and she's like, you can't, because if you do, we run the risk of so-and-so being exposed before this happens and that happens and blah, blah, and then the story runs, or the story, he sets the story up and then it doesn't go out on air and he blames her, and she's like, it wasn't me. And then of course they find out later on that it was someone at the network who knew that he was on to what they were all doing. So she was protecting him. She was trying to protect him, and he didn't listen. So then when he finds out the truth, he quits. He walks out. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of this. This is sick. I'm done, sort of thing. So then he joins the Legion. And then when he turns up, she's like, took you long enough. I'm sorry, I didn't believe you, I'm sorry, this, that, and then she's like, yeah, whatever, you want to get a beer? And then, they hold hands walking into the bar, and that's their way of making up, sort of thing. It's yeah. So that's Holy War, the movie. I can't wait to make any of my movies. But the live action ones, I can't wait to make, because it means that I get to take the kids on different filming locations, and we get to have different adventures, go to different countries, and, well, not me, them. They'll be able to, I won't have anything to do with it, but you know what I mean. They'll get to have adventures and see different countries and go to different filming locations, and all the kids that want to learn how to make movies, work the cameras and the mics, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, trying to keep myself busy while all my chores are done. I got them out the way. So now I'm just sitting here waiting to see what happens next. Keeping myself busy. Busy bee. Busy, busy, busy. Got to think of your name. Got to think of his name too. Where I'm going to situate it. I mean, if we're living in Switzerland, I'm probably going to have to base it in Switzerland, where they'll have to go to the surrounding countries and stuff like that, which would make sense because the United Nations is there. It would make a lot of sense. I wonder if any of the people that worked at the United Nations would be prepared to have like little cameos. None of the arsehole nations. But yeah, I wonder if there'd be anyone at the United Nations, any ambassadors or whatever, that would be interested in playing themselves and make little cameos. It depends on how up they are for supporting children, knowing that we're going to be rescuing children from traffickers. I imagine countries like Ukraine won't want to get involved. Anyway, so I'm going to go and I will speak to you later. But, yep, keeping myself busy until I'm set free, till I get to fly away. I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love Lenny Kravitz. His album was one of my favourite albums. So I'm going to go now. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. I want to get away.